Now, can I break this down? The Hebrew boys are cast into the fire, but something amazing happens. Instead of dying in the flame, they are loosed, walking around in the fire. Okay. Now I need you to get this. Can we look at verse 21? I'm gonna wrench this text out. Then these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, their turbans, their garments, and were cast into the what? Midst of the what? Now look at verse 20. The Bible says this, verse 20. Go back, watch this. The Bible says, the king commanded certain mighty men of Valor who were in the army to bind the boys up, to cast them in the furnace. Verse 21 says what? That these men were bound and they were cast into the furnace, right? Watch verse 22. Therefore, because the king's command was so urgent and the fire was exceedingly hot, it killed the men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I think you missed your shout. I began the message by saying that when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got elevated, they had haters. And the haters conspired with the king and said, let's build an image because we know they're not going to bow down. So it was a conspiracy because they knew they were Hebrews. And so the king brought into the conspiracy. And so when it was time to bow down, the boys stood up. As a result of standing up, the king said, all right, then y'all who came to me with this, take them and throw them into the fire. The men who handled Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, throw them in the fire, but the same fire burns them. Look at your neighbor and say, you better be careful how you handle somebody like me. Because the same mess you trying to get me caught up in, it's the same mess that'll take you. They were tied up out of the furnace, bound, thrown into the furnace, bound. But when the king looked down in the fire, they walking free. What is God saying to us? There's some stuff that has you tied up. You've been trying to get deliverance from, but your deliverance from it is not going to take place outside of the furnace. God said the only way for me to get some of that stuff out of you is to let you get in the fire, because it's in the fire where that stuff going to get burned out of you. Am I talking to anybody up in here today? There was some stuff you had difficulty letting go of, but the fire burned it off. Aren't you glad that the fire got some of that stuff out of your life?